This segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And when it comes to things happening over in Assumption Parish, we turn to one gentleman, Commander Lonnie Cavalier. Commander, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Keith. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. All right. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Morris.
Yes, sir. Darrell Anthony Morris, Jr., 24 of 6128, Highway 44, Convent, Louisiana, was arrested on warrants charging him with simple burglary and theft of a motor vehicle arising from an incident which occurred on or about July 26, 2023. On that date, deputies responded to a retail outlet on Highway 70 East in reference to a vehicle burglary as well as the theft of an automobile. Deputies made contact with the complainants who advised that in the early morning hours of July 26, 2023, they noticed their automobile was missing. While on scene, deputies were advised that a second vehicle had been burglarized and a firearm had been stolen from within. Detectives initiated an investigation and did identify a suspect as being Darrell Anthony Morris, Jr. At the conclusion of that investigation, detectives secured arrest warrants charging Darrell Anthony Morris, Jr. with simple burglary and theft of a motor vehicle. Darrell Anthony Harris, Jr. was incarcerated in the Assumption Parish Jail and was released through the custody of the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office on June 23, 2025. Darrell Anthony Morris, Jr. was booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of simple burglary, theft of a motor vehicle, detainer from Department of Corrections for a probation and parole violation. Bond was set at $50,000 on those charges, and he was ordered held without bond on the probation violation.
Okay, thank you, Commander. Can you tell us a little bit about Ms. Petrie?
Yes, Cassandra Marie Petrie, 36 of 148 B&L Street, Bertrandville, Louisiana, was arrested on felony charges arising from an incident in the 100 block of B&L Street on Tuesday morning. Deputies were dispatched to the area and made contact with multiple complainants who indicated that an individual now identified as Cassandra Marie Petrie had filed false reports early on Tuesday indicating that one of the complainants had assaulted her with a weapon. The complainants reported that Cassandra Marie Petrie actually went to their residence and made threats towards one of the complainants and two minor children. The suspect left but returned a short time later and threatened another individual with a crowbar. That victim currently has a protective order in place against Cassandra Marie Petrie. Deputies retrieved electronic video footage which confirmed the complainant's statements. Deputies located Cassandra Marie Petrie and arrested her. Petrie was booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of violation of a protective order, aggravated assault 2 counts, criminal trespass, and disturbing the peace. Cassandra Marie Petrie remains incarcerated in the Lafourche Parish Detention Facility without bond.
Okay, and moving right along, let's talk a little bit about Mr. Boudreau and this felony in possession of a firearm.
Yes, Chance C. Boudreau, 30 of 150 Uranus Street, Market City, Louisiana, was arrested on felony gun law violations following a traffic stop on LA 182 near Highway 662. A uniformed patrol deputy observed the vehicle commit a traffic violation and conducted an investigative stop of the vehicle. The deputy made contact with the driver, now identified as Chance C. Boudreau, and engaged Boudreau in an officer violator interview. At the conclusion of that interview, the deputy believed additional investigation was warranted. The deputy utilized the K9 to conduct an open-air sniff of the suspect vehicle. The K9 alerted positive for the presence of controlled dangerous substances. The deputy conducted a search of the vehicle and did locate a large caliber firearm. During a criminal records inquiry, deputies determined that Chance C. Boudreau was a convicted felon, therefore could not legally possess a firearm. Chance Boudreau was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of a firearm, carrying a concealed weapon by a person convicted of a felony. Chance C. Boudreau remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing.
I thank you very much for that update, Commander. And lastly, let's talk a little bit about this traffic stop of a couple of gentlemen and some obstruction of justice.
Yes, Jeremy Heron, 45 of 207 Sparrow Street, Laverdale, was arrested on felony obstruction of justice charges arising from a traffic stop on LA1 in Napoleonville on Wednesday. A uniformed patrol deputy observed a vehicle with an equipment violation and conducted a stop of that vehicle. The deputy made contact with the driver, now identified as Blake Thomas Falcon, 44 of 461 Highway 400 Napoleonville. The deputy interviewed Blake Thomas Falcon, then proceeded to interview the passenger, now identified as Jeremy Heron. At the conclusion of those interviews, the deputy believed additional investigation was warranted. The deputy requested and was granted consent to search the vehicle. During the search process, deputies recovered drug paraphernalia attributed to Jeremy Heron, which he attempted to destroy. Jeremy Heron was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, obstruction of justice, warrant for criminal damage to property, and enter, remain after being forbidden. Jeremy Heron remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. Blake Thomas Falcon was cited for illegal window tint and was released with a court date.
And so, Commander, we know you guys are staying awfully busy, and so I'm sure hoping you guys get a break here soon. And with 4th of July coming up, hopefully we don't have any incidents in your area with regards to the holiday.
We hope it's a good 4th of July, but we're going to be out there on the water and on the highways and trying to keep people safe.
We appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time today, Commander.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. I got a whole lot more right here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.